So Joni and I came up with a list of activities that you can incorporate into your creative caring. And just going to list them here for you. And this is also something that you have in the handouts that we've provided, is this creative activities list. So this is something that Joni and I put together to inspire you to bring more creativity into your caring role. We've already talked a little bit about creating art, and we created some art together initially. And that can be painting or coloring or collaging or any form of sort of creativity that you might want to do, right? Object handling is another creative activity. It's amazing how many objects you just have around your home that if you picked them up and looked at them closely and asked a few questions about them, the amazing things that would come forward. And we're going to demonstrate that to you, Joni and I, here in a few minutes. But that's also something you can experience if you're going out to museums, right? Those are filled with all kinds of interesting objects that your loved one or person that you care for with dementia will have probably memories and experiences with from their life that they would be able to share with you if they were stimulated in that environment. And that's the same with art viewing and visiting galleries and things like that too. We've done some fun things like this with our clientele over the years. And again, it's amazing what their interpretations are and what they share about what they see in the art, right? Mm-hmm. Listening to or creating music, that's come out in so many studies, so much research, how important music is, what a balm it is to the soul of many people with dementia, and how helpful. And you can even, create your own musical instruments. And we've done some projects like that in the past, right? Taken different things and made musical instruments out of them, like
shakers.
Shakers, right? So you could use things like that, right, Joni? Like different implements that put your beans or your seeds or decorate it up, make it colorful and interesting, whatever you'd like. And capturing words. Joni shared a quote in the first part of this from a lady who has done some poetry and word collecting work with people with dementia. So that's another thing. If you like the spoken word, you can often just sort of jot down these things that your person says and maybe create that into something, a story, a poem, something like that. The movement, of course, is so important too, right? Especially for slowing down the process of dementia. Joni, you talked about fine motor skills and things like that earlier for making the art and how helpful that can be. But so are the larger movements like dancing, which can be done sitting or standing. It can include different types of objects and things as well to be part of that expression. Also performance art. A lot of people with dementia can still engage in performance art by going to the theater, the opera, the ballet, or something like that. Scrapbooking. Joni, again, you referenced reminiscence and reminiscence as a therapy and also as a tool to help keep people connected to their life experiences and to help them interact with others. So that can be a creative project, right? Creating that scrapbook together, with photos and artwork and memorabilia and all of those things that might connect a person with dementia to their world and help retain it.
Yeah, and it can be an ongoing project. You don't have to worry that someone's going to forget that they were working on something last week that involved using their own memories and their own photos and stuff, because people surprisingly do remember the art that they were working on. Like I remember in one session, there was a gentleman who was drawing a tree and he didn't get to finish his tree in that session. In the next session, we were working on a different project, but he said, "What about my tree? I want to finish that." And I was just completely blown away that he had remembered what he had been working on last week. And, it just goes to point that people don't necessarily forget what they have been working on, even though we often assume that about people, but don't ever make those assumptions. And especially things like the reminiscing with scrapbooking. I've had other art therapists say that their clients really wanted to get back to whatever they were working on. So.
Yeah, exactly. I do think that's an important point that you bring up, that we assume, I think, too much often about what a person with dementia can or can't do, what they're capable of. And I think we need to really try and pull back from that and try to not put our own expectations on top of that, but just to be present for what comes forward. A lot of times, also on this list, the handling and experiencing of textiles. And Joni, I think you have some stories about that as well, right? Because that can be culturally or significant to people.
Yeah, especially things, well, in my culture, lace. My grandmother and her colleagues would have been knitting and crocheting and making lace. So all the white lace, especially white lace curtains, it's a very Dutch thing. My family has a Dutch history. So anything like that is good for people if it relates to their culture. You'll find across the board there are many cultures and many specific fabrics that are a part of those cultures.
That's right. And so they can be a point, again, of connection and memories and reminiscence and positive experiences, that cultural background and connection. So we've just brought forward some examples too for you, and there are lots more examples in the YouTube channel that Joni has, and that is also included in this for you, so you can access that to be inspired and guided and led by Joni in various creative projects. And also through the course of our Arts and Alzheimer's program that we did together, we created a how-to manual that has not only theory about creativity and art making and music as well, but also has ideas of projects for you. So I think for a lot of people, Joni, you probably find this, that they'd like to do it, but maybe they just don't know where to start, right? It's like it's like the blank slate.
Yeah. The writer's block, right?
The writer's block. Yeah.
It's
so
really overwhelming because the possibilities are endless, right? So.
Right. Yeah. So they end up choosing none of them.
Yeah.
So we've tried to give you some resources to overcome that potential barrier and help you get started. And you don't have to come up with your own ideas. You can use ours.
Yeah.
So.